Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the European crossover webinar. And we're seeing the dollar strengthen. We're seeing the euro head back towards its lows. We came into an area which was a 61% of the range of 1123 to 57. That's 1174. We're moving, as I discussed yesterday. I thought we'd break lower. I mean, had the opportunities for this market to break lower the last couple of days. The Deutsche Bank news really kind of put a top in this euro as it sold off pretty hard. It was just a matter of when they're going to break, and you know how it is on a Friday. If the market looks like it's going to break in one direction, it usually starts rolling in that direction. As I said yesterday, my initial target would be 1140, and then a little bit longer move is going to be towards 1115. And then, like I said, if we bring it down to 1115, you rally them up, you short them again around 1165, 1170, and then we make a move down to about 1088. We'll take a look at that. We're seeing, and I posted this in the chat room, that the Swissie's on the move. We got a 4-hour close above, it was listed as 9686. And let me go back in here, look at something real quick. I posted that there. I said, hey, look, we can, if we just need to get a close above 96.86 to unleash the Momo, and that's essentially what's happened. I mean, we've got the flows now. I'm saying the Friday flows going, and that's what we've got. I mean, once it got above 96.86 on a 4-hour close, I'll show you the chart. We closed one tick above 96.86. That opened the floodgates, and we took off in the dollar Swiss. So, like I said, hadn't been a whole lot of news other than the Lehman stuff. We'll go on and go into the news. Okay, here we are. Euro hits 2-month lows versus the Swiss franc and Deutsche Bank jitters. And you can see here, well, I'm not going to drag it over. It's going to be too much trouble. We'll see it. And I told the guys, I go, hey, look, if we can get a 2-hour close above 96.86, that's going to open these flows. And that's exactly what happened. We close at 96.87 on the 2-hour chart about an hour ago. And then it just starts little by ticking a little bit higher, and then we just ripped them. Once we got above 97, we ripped them for 55 pips. So here we are. The euro dropped to 2-month low against the safe haven Swiss franc and lost ground broadly on Friday. That's concerns about the health of Deutsche Bank weighed on the single currency and undermined the risk appetite across global markets. The expectations are raised after U.S. Congress voted overwhelmingly on Wednesday to approve legislation that will allow families of those killed in the September 11, 2000 attacks to seek damages from the Saudi government. Okay, risk appetite seems to be backtracking as European banking concerns mount, says Hans Redeker, head of currency strategy at Morgan Stanley. Now, remember, I told you Morgan Stanley, they were just loving this euro. They were in love with it. They had a picture of it on their wall. They had hearts all dotted around the euro. They've just been in love with the euro for so long. The latest alert came after Bloomberg reported that a number of hedge funds that cleared derivative trades with Deutsche had withdrawn some excess cash held at the lender, which has dropped to fourth in overall rankings as a currency trader. The Japanese yen looked set for its third straight quarter of gains. It has gained about 2% so far this quarter. Of course, to allow the third consecutive quarter of gains, as investors suspect the BOJ has reached a practical limit, and the stimulus has lost clout with cheapening the yen. I already said that, look, if you want to know what's going on with the dollar yen, you don't pay attention to the dollar yen. It's all about the ZB. And I'll tell you what, I got hit on the ZB because yesterday I was catching some nice turns in the ZB, but I was missing my limit, and so I come in at 69.09, actually 69.07, and then the Deutsche Bank news comes out right as it looks like we're going to pull back, and then all of a sudden we start popping higher. And like I said, then now we're up here near our highs on the ZB. But the yen is moving based on the ZB. I mean, I said that yesterday. I've been saying all week, but I said it yesterday with conviction. Look, all you have to do is look at the ZB, and it tells you where the yen is going to go. Don't worry about it. It's breaking out of a range, doing this. Look, I already told you the dollar yen's not going anywhere. It's based on the ZB, okay? And that's what's going to call the move in the yen. Nothing else is going to call the move in the yen because the BOJ has no credibility. You're going to hear a lot of people say the ECB has no credibility, the Fed has no credibility. Look, you're getting taken down a road, folks. If you're too dumb to realize it, I'm sorry. But when you listen to these people saying, "Oh, they lost their credibility," look, they just don't. They're just not happy with the way things are going. So they're pissed off and they're saying, "Oh, it's lost its credibility. The Fed's lost its credibility. The BOJ, the ECB's lost its credibility." You have to pay attention to it when a bank, based on the actions of the market, not based on rhetoric, not based on somebody giving you their take, based on the actions of the market. That's when you know that a central bank has really lost credibility. Not because they didn't do what you wanted. Okay, I told you the other day, or last week, I said, that nobody believed the BOJ, strike one. People took the other side of the trade right after the announcement or upon the announcement, strike two. The trade, when they took the other side of the announcement, immediately paid off for them. Strike three, you're out. That's a central bank that lost credibility. Don't listen to others. Listen if you want. You're just doing yourself a disservice, okay? Don't listen to people that tell you that a bank lost credibility, okay? When the price action shows you that the bank's lost credibility, the central bank of that currency, that's when you know they've lost credibility. Don't listen to other people. I mean, you do what you want, but you're doing a disservice to yourself. When you listen to these people telling you, "Oh, they've lost credibility," well, you know what? They get all wrapped up because they're all sad because Yellen didn't do what they wanted, and the Fed's lost credibility. The Fed hasn't lost no credibility, and despite everything with the ECB, they haven't lost credibility. It's just they can't do anything right now. The only bank that has lost credibility has been the BOJ, and the price action tells you that the BOJ has lost credibility. Even when they were expecting something, the dollar yen didn't even rally that much. Even when they were expecting something out of the announcement, people were still doubting it. And I told you, when we lost 300 pips from the NFP highs that Friday, almost a month ago, at 432, that was it. As the saying goes, that's all she wrote. Once you take 300 pips from somebody, I don't care if it's retail, I don't care if it's institutional, I don't care if it's a fund, let me tell you, nobody comes back to a market after that. And it wasn't because of some kind of crazy news event, it's because of in-house fighting by the Japanese government. So that's it. That's what they squandered it. I told you that was it. Finito, game over, turn out the lights, the party's over. And that's exactly what's played out. So you can sit there and listen all you want to someone telling you the Fed's lost credibility, this, that. Okay, listen all you want. You trade the way you want. I've been said it yesterday. The dollar yen is just moving based on the ZB. That's all. So we're going to move into the charts. We'll just go in real quickly into the reports per day. And you can see here, coming into the U.S. session, we have personal income and consumption. And we do also have Canadian producer prices, as well as GDP. Really, nothing other than that. We do have shy PMI at 9:45 Eastern. This Michigan, that's the final number. That's not going to move the market. It's not going to move the market at all. So we're going to move into the charts. And let's go and move in. And be just a moment. Okay, so here's the euro. You can see where they found support here. I've got the 1174 and the 61%. I had it on the 15-minute chart. I just put it over here for the 2-hour chart, but it's been posted on the 15-minute chart for a while because I was thinking, and actually it came into there was actually like a head and shoulders on the 15-minute chart on a very short-term basis that augured for us to move lower. And we'll just take a look at it real quick. Yeah, Visha says gold holding well as Kiwi and Aussie. Well, yeah, we had a buy signal on the gold. Come on, I mean, we've already. I was telling the guys yesterday, I was trying to buy it at 13.17. Doggone thing only made it to 13.1860. But we've been on a buy mode. We'll take a look at the gold, but we'll take a look real quick on the on the euro on the 15-minute. Yeah, and I was trying to buy gold in the 13.17. I thought I'd make it down there. One of those things it just didn't. But here's what I was talking about as far as the euro. This is what I saw last night. Hang on a moment. You can see right here. I was looking at this last night. So you see how that comes right here at the bottom of this 1156 area right here. So we'll probably make one more dip. It's Friday flows, so you know that it can keep on pressing lower. So be careful. I've done that before. Take the other side as it keeps falling and falling, and then it just because people are trying to get the hell out of Dutch. I don't think it's as prominent, and actually the euro is holding a heck of a lot better versus the dollar. If you think about look how it's been ripped up against the Swissy. So it's still holding up relatively well. I would look, remember I told you I was looking for around 1140-ish, but this 56 right in here, if they dip down here, we already showed that, this is where we've got some support here, we've got the 78% here. This here. We'll go back into the 2-hour charts again. Hang on. Okay, you can see here where the dollar Swiss really took off. And I'll show you what I posted this chart in the chat room. Was here I said, see that here, 96.86, and I was saying, hey, if we can get a 2-hour close above 96.86, that'll open the flows. And you can see here, just an hour ago, we closed right above the 96.86, and look how this thing just ripped hardcore. Although I will say this, I mean, I like to use the dollar Swiss. I never really followed the dollar Swiss that closely. It's been almost 3 years now since I would follow it closely, but I use it to judge what's going to happen in the euro. But I tell you what, obviously this is all about the Swiss. But when you look at how much the dollar's gained against the Swissy, I would have thought this move, conversely, should really have worked for a euro moving down to about 1140. So I'm a little bit disappointed there because I would think you'd even get more out of the, that move. And here we are. You can see here on the 15-minute chart, you can see the rip. Actually went on a buy signal right here. You can see that right here, right there. So right in here, this whole thing generated a buy signal, but we didn't get the buy signal. If you screw it over, actually, as we were coming down here, we generated that buy signal. You see, and then we just ripped them. A very nice run up here on the dollar Swiss. Really should augur for a bigger fall in the euro. Frankly, I don't even know what the hell the euro is still doing up here at this side. I mean, I would have thought at least we've got to move down to about 11, that area I was telling you about, 1140. Although the head and shoulders on the 15-minute really targets about, what is it, I think it's 55 or something like that. But I would have expected a little bit lower here. And then if it wants to try and bounce up or something like that. But we'll go on in, let me see, we'll take a look at the Aussie, hang on. This market, one of the guys in the chat room, I think we're trading around here, and he asked, hey, what do you think? And I said, hey, look, I think we're going to go to the lower 76s. And he thought the same thing. He got short. I don't know if he ended up covering because we jumped up about 77, but we turned around and failed and looked. Then we came back down. And we did come here. I just think it's overdone here. At this point, I'd say a move towards the 75.56 is probably in order. We'll get find a little bit of support here, but at 75, but I think this move to 75.56 really is in close order right here. You see all the touches coming across? So we should have to work a little bit lower here. One of the things that would be helping Aussie is how gold has rebounded. But, when gold was selling off, Aussie was doing its own thing anyway. So what you'd want to do is, since it hasn't responded that way, you'd want to look at something else so we can take a look at how copper's doing. Copper's been on a run. It's still doing pretty good if you look at it overall. Yeah, we come up here, we pull back, but here's that bias pivot, that 219. We'll have to see how it does, but it's not doing bad at all. It's still holding up. You can't say, well, copper's really diverging quite a bit. It's just pulled back from this pretty good run. So which would just suggest this is more of a dollar play as opposed to, because like I said, now you've got gold responding. And we had support here at 18. I guess it should, on the 15-minute chart, I had it at 1720, but you can see here in the market, I think it stopped at what, 1860. I probably should have paid attention to that. I mean, I saw it, but I thought, okay, well, on the 15-minute chart, I had 1720 and 17 was the 78%. It looked like, but this 2-hour chart ended up holding well at this 18 area, and the low was 1860. It paid off really well here when I was buying here on this dip here. So I probably should have just stayed to pay attention to it. But I guess it being off $1 shouldn't have made that much. I should have probably just gone with it. And it just didn't come down there. And then we eventually started moving higher. We pulled back, but we've had a nice jump in here. I still think this is a bad tick, but maybe it wasn't. This dropped down to 22 because I'm seeing it here on TD Ameritrade, and I'm seeing it here on the whatchamacall, on DTN IQ feed, which powers my Ninja. I thought it was a bad thing, a bad data point because it came right back up. But then the market did start selling off from 27 down to about, what looks like 24 and a half. And then we started working higher, but maybe it wasn't a bad tick. It doesn't look like anything big here. If you look on a 15-minute chart, it looks huge. And believe me, I just happened to step up. I don't know what was that. I think I went to bed late or something. I don't know what, but I just happened to see it, and I was like, wow, that must have been a bad tick. And then I saw it work lower. So I don't know. We'll see. But we'll take a look at it. But that being said, we've got some, you can see here that they ran out of gas at this 31. I thought they might make a run to 31. Actually, we're now down to 29.20. I thought we might be, they had a lot of good volume at 31.40. It looks like they ran out of gas at 31.10. I'm going to pull them back. I was hoping we might be able to even get a better squeeze before they pull back. And we'll take a look at it real quickly on the 15-minute. You can see here, we've come up, and this is at that drop down here, which I didn't see, but I'm just saying it appears that it's good. I mean, we'll take a look at it. Maybe it was, let's see. You see, here's that drop. You see, and this is on a 1-minute bar. I thought it was a bad tick, but they're showing on trade. I mean, on TD Ameritrade also. But you can see here that we came to the top of the zone here. I thought we might be able to make it 32.30. You can see there's a lot of, this has been sitting there since yesterday. There's a lot of, there's actually earlier this morning, I think it was like 900 up in here. And as we were going up there, it dropped down to 700, but really a good cluster here. I thought they may be able to take them and push them even higher, like gun them up here to 32 before they fell back. Always had a nice rally. We're kind of pulling back a little bit from this area. Obviously, supportive from what's been happening with Deutsche Bank. We had a pretty good fall yesterday, and that's what I was telling the guys. I go, I'm actually looking to go in and buy, but I thought we'd come down to the 17.20, and I just missed it. It's just unfortunate. But I told them, I go, hey, look, you have to look at it this way. I go, it's already, I was saying from Monday, I go, it's already fallen over $41 from Monday. Come on. And we did, fund the support, but I thought we'd come down to 17. I thought it was going to be a fantastic buy. Well, it would have been fantastic, but I just didn't get down there. We'll go back into the 2-hour charts and we'll take a look at the euro pound. Actually, I was talking to the guys earlier today. I said that 86, right 05 was going to be a good, actually right here, there's 8601, right here, 8601.5. Actually, it did come down here just so too, because it wasn't there earlier. I'll show you. I said that was going to be nice support. I'm looking on the 15-minute. You see how they just made this dip here? We were here this morning, I said, and I was looking at these touches here. I think we've already come into support here. Be honest with you, and we'll take a look at it on a, let me go back to 2 hours. You can see the touches. That's what I was looking at, right there. See how these closes right there and open? Right there. And that's what went to, 86.03. And I think I was saying 86.05 in the chat area. Yeah, 86.05 support level. That's what I said. I posted the chart, 86.05 support level, and we got down to 86.02. we'll see if it flips over to the sell mode here on the 2-hour chart, which if it does do that, it's really going to, put some downside pressure. And we'll see if we can get a further drop here in the euro. You would think as much as the euro, the dollar Swiss is taken off, which trades conversely with the euro. I would have expected, at least into the 50s. So I'm surprised we're not even lower, but we had the 61% here. So we'll move into the dollar yen. We were talking about that this morning. My take on this is that it's not going anywhere unless the bonds sell off. That's the only thing. It has nothing to do with the dollar yen. And we were talking about this. That we look at this range here, you see here, take that lower, and pop that up, that comes in on 245. Originally, just looking at an eyeball, look, I was saying above here to this 226. It's a little bit higher. We did get a rally here in the dollar yen, but like I said, we turn around and start selling off. And we're just, like I said, this market is going to continue to struggle because nobody believes him anymore. Hang on. So I really, at least for me, I don't see anything here. I mean, actually, I guess the only thing I have to give the dollar yen credit at this point is, I guess it's holding up relatively well considering bonds are at their highs. But on the Deutsche Bank news, so I'll give it that. That's about it. But frankly, for me, I don't see a whole lot happening. If you were interested on the short side, I really wouldn't have done anything until we took out at least 2. Then you could say, I mean, if it was starting to fail, then say, oh, look, your upside risk is probably just above this 223 area. But it made it to the 177 area here, I guess 180 or so. But if it had gotten above 102 and had some trouble, then I could say, okay, that probably would have been a good area. But I can't say that, obviously this is where a good area was for them to lay off a few longs, but if someone was saying, I wanted to get short, I probably would have waited at least until they took out the 102 area. And it would show, let's say that it was struggling. So let's see, we'll move back into the headlines. It's already time for a break. Okay, let's get back on here to the charts. Currency says, can you take a look at the pound versus the I guess it's the guppy, potential inverted head and shoulders. Yeah, we'll do that. We generally don't take a look at the cross rates, but it's a Friday and we're going to go and do that. Oh, you know what? I did this thing wrong. for a potential inverted head and shoulders. I don't see it, to be honest with you. I mean, because it's still making lows. I mean, not unless I guess you're trying to look at this here, and that being the head. But you see, you have a lower low here. You see what I'm saying? So that doesn't work out. So I really don't see an inverted head and shoulders on there. I mean, unless you're looking on this super short time frame. And we'll take a look at that. But you see, the problem is you got this low here. Now we'll move this here. But usually, I mean, the head and shoulders is going to be towards the end of a move. You see what I'm saying? And so the problem with that is you've got this lower low here. You've got this lower low here. You see what I'm saying? So you're not really seeing that unless you're looking at something. Oh, unless you're looking at this. Well, no, that's still not good. Because if you got the head here, and if you're saying this is a shoulder, kind of. The only thing I don't like is you'd want this head a little bit deeper. So if you're seeing it like this on a super short-term basis, if you're seeing like that, I don't know, it's kind of a stretch. It is after the end of this move on a very short-term basis, but you see you have this other lower low here. It just doesn't feel right, to be honest with you. I mean, we're pretty oversold, but I just don't know about this. One thing is I will say you have some support right here at this 30.50. So I think you can work higher towards this 100 pips higher. You can probably make it all the way up to here, right there. You see right in here? 33.15. But I don't think it's as much as a head and shoulders as it's going to be about, you know, you have this lower low here. Because see, this head is just not very low, if that's what you're looking at. But you see here, you've got nice support coming across the board. Low, low, above, breaks above, and now support. So we could blast them a little bit higher. Also, if you look at the EMAs, and this is on the 2R, which I do use them on the 2R, I told you before, this is a very good signal where the market flips to the sell and then flips back to the buy. If it does that quickly, it's going to ignite some momentum. And that could take you to 33. I think it could take you right there. 33 even, maybe you can get a hair above it. But I think that's more about the momentum flipping the other way as opposed to this being head and shoulders. It's just not in a good position. There's a lot of things I think wrong with it. For one thing, here's the previous low. Okay, so maybe this would be a head and shoulders. And you see now this I see as a head and shoulders. You see that right here? Right there? Shoulder. Now look how this one's more cleaner. And look at the reaction you got. You see what I'm saying? You see right here? Shoulder, shoulder, head. And look how it rips up. Now it goes way beyond what the projected would be. But that's a little bit cleaner head and shoulders right there. Inverted head and shoulders. And we'll go back in here. I'll show you if I can do this. Now this went way over. But you see how this is cleaner? You see how you can see this is more pronounced. See, now that's a clean inverted head and shoulders. You see? That's a lot more cleaner. I say, oh, yeah, that's after a move. And maybe it didn't take out this previous move, but it's pretty doggone low. You see, it's after an extended move. And I go, wow. You know, on a very short-term basis, yeah, that looks pretty good. Yeah, maybe so. And you would have measured this. I mean, you could say this went lower, but I'm just going across with here. So you'd measured this, and that would have given us to about right in here, I guess. and it kind of stalled there, but it resumed. Okay, this one on the other hand, it looks all junky to me. But I see, I mean, if that's the time frame you're looking at, I can kind of see what you're looking at. Yeah, currency says, yeah, I'm looking at this. I think that you will get the rally, and you'll probably get it to just above 133. But I think it has more to do, like we're saying, you see it coming across the thing, all those touches. Man, that looks good there. It has nothing to do with the inverted head and shoulders. And if we flip the other way, you notice on the EMAs, it's going to flip the cross back up, and that's going to catch a lot of people on the wrong side of the market. And that's where that momentum takes off. That's what I was talking about when it crosses to a sell and then flips back to a buy. We'll go back on cover just real quick again. Don't go to do it again. This is what I was talking about. It just doesn't pull everything out. When see how it flipped back to the sell? All of this market's pretty doggone jaggy. But if it flips back up because of some momentum, anybody that got short here, and they're thinking, yeah, you see how it got up here? We're breaking lower. And they go up here and they get short. If they flip them back and they can get above these highs, it'll flip this back to the buy. And this is one of my best signals, is because if it flips, you see how he did the same thing here. You see how he flipped to the buy and you flip back? What happens is, here's the take on that, is the momentum, everybody that got long here, now they're all trying to get out. And then they just start chasing to get out. You see what I'm saying? Well, to see how we got long here, everything looks all hunky-dory. We're coming back in the buy zone. We slipped to the sell. Yeah, you see, it's all a fake out. I'm telling you right now, it's a fake out. And so they get short. If we flip back up here with this momentum and get above these highs, and this flips back to the buy signal, forget it. Then everybody's going to be rushing back the same way they rushed over here. You see how this one? You see how you flip to the buy and you flip back? That's one of my best signals right there. You flip there and you flip right back. You catch everybody here's trapped, and they all got to end up chasing it. You can do the same thing here, is they get trapped on the short side, and it all looks good. You see what I'm saying? And if they flip back, then everybody stops, they're going to get hit. And the momentum is going to build. And there, I think you can get that move, as I said. You can get it up here to around 133, 133.10. But I think it has more to do with that and that good level of support than has anything to do with any inverted head and shoulders. So, yeah, sure, no problem. Says thanks. Where are we now? Dollar cat's doing a whole bunch of nothing. So, we already looked at the Aussie dollar. Oh, here's bonds. Bonds took off. I mean, we came into this area. Here's another thing that was just, oh my goodness gracious. I had a limit to buy. I was looking at 68.05. I thought we'd wash them out at 68.05, although 68.09 was the 161% of this recent move. But I thought we'd make it to 68.05, and I had a limit. I think it was at 68.03, and they only made it down to, I think it's 9, I think it was. You can see right in here. The 68.08 is pretty key. But they only made it to 9. 9 was actually this 161% of this entire range here. And then, of course, the Deutsche Bank news just got them ripping up here. Whereas to right now, we're right near these highs. And until, like I said, I always tell people, I don't tell people, that's the saying I've seen, is, you can trade technicals, but overwhelming, and I'm saying overwhelming fundamentals will always kick technicals in the A. Overwhelming fundamentals. And you saw that right now with the Deutsche Bank. And we're seeing the euro continue to push slower here. Overwhelming fundamentals will always kick technicals in the euro. I still have the zone here. 70.05 is the 50%, which we haven't got to. I'm thinking this market probably slow down as we get to the 70.21. You see that's the top of the zone. You can see all the touches coming across. See? That's a very good area right there. If you look at it here. See right there? Look at all those touches coming across. You see that? That is very good. See all that? So I think that 70.21 is going to be, you know, even beyond that, the upside would be like 71 even. And we'll go and mark that off. So you can see that's as far as I can see it really stretching unless something horrible happens. Right there, which is 70.31. We'll mark that off. But I think they can make a foray up into this area right here. And this is that same thing that when they got bailed out by the OPEC news, I already was putting in a limit for the Asian session for 70.18. I think we can probably blast them up here, might even take them up to 70.31, but let it play itself out. I wouldn't be trying to rush it before then. We can take a look at crude. I haven't looked at it in quite a while. I haven't even dragged my 2-hour chart in a while, so let's see if we can find it in here. Because with all this news, I'm just like, forget it. I'm not going to play around with that. Well, here we are. So let's take a look where we stand here. This is on a 30-minute chart, but let's take a look at here on the 2 hours, see what's going on. Actually, look, we came to that bias pivot of 48.22. Told you I haven't done anything. First is 48.25. Almost looks like it's forming a head and shoulders. You see that? So if we can make a dip down here, but it looks like that on a 2-hour chart. You see, I haven't done anything, but I hadn't paid attention to it. But that 48.25 is a bias pivot. See all the touches in here? So that's where they ran out of gas, that 48.25. It's probably, the news is about as good as it gets. So if you're willing to just put your stop above the highs, you're probably okay. Probably the modus operandi is probably going to be just to go and short them against that. But that 48.25 is pretty key here. And we'll get the zone here, 47.29 to 48.56, or 45.86. Euro's pushing lower, continue to push lower. Let's see what the dollar source is doing at this time, but I think if you look at here, we'll probably break them lower here in the crude oil. Maybe try and make another run up here and roll them down. And so if you look at this, looks like forming a head and shoulders here on the 2-hour chart. It probably bodes for us to move back down here. And here's the old bias pivot, 44.92. This is this is where they're going to, 44.92. Let me move this out of the way. Probably update that over the weekend. You can see it's kind of formed a little bit not as clear on this 30-minute chart. You can see here at the highs, we got the dark cloud cover here. You see here? Because it above the prior body, I'm not worried about the wicks, but the prior body, you see how the engulf is more than the halfway point takes over the halfway point, doesn't engulf the entire body. That's a dark cloud cover, which augurs for lower prices. So take a look here in the Swissy. We talked about this at the beginning of the show. I was telling the guys in the chat room, posted the chart, said, hey, look, if we can get a 2-hour close above 96.86, that'll open the flows. You can see here, we got that close. Looks like it must have been about 96.87 or 88. And from there, it would, good night, Irene. Took off like crazy. Because once again, I mean, not only there's the Deutsche worries, but you have to figure that as you're coming into a Friday, they're gonna really gonna want to punish them lower. And my guess is we're probably going to continue to see this euro sell off. Right in here. Well, I've got some support here at 1166 to that zone, but it looks like we're just going to have to go in and go lower in here. We'll move into that to wrap things up. You see here, we're still going lower here in the euro, and you're seeing that you're seeing equally the dollar Swiss rallying. You see that here? And here's on the 2-hour chart. Get the dollar Swiss here. Now, getting back to the 15-minute chart, that head and shoulders projection on a short-term basis points for 56, I believe it was. But we'll come back over here. You see right here. So what I was looking at when it came looking at in Asia, here to here. I look at the most touches, so I'm not worried about down here. And that points to right in there. It's just above 60, so we're almost there. And you see there's the 56 side. Although you do not want to fight it. I've done that before, but I'm thinking, I'll pick it up on the long side real quick. Once you get going on these Friday flows, it's pretty hard to stop. Although it's still pretty early, but we're really stretching them right now. And you see we got that sell signal here. Oh, this is only on the 1-minute chart, but I think that probably just above this 56 is a good area if you're a scalper. If you're a scalper and you're looking to cover, I would not be trying to push this from the buy side. That's for sure. I've done that before, but not now. But like mid-New York session, thinking, okay, they'll probably bounce, and they just don't bounce. They just keep on working lower, and you can see, like I said, that they've been in a lot of. Let's see, Blake should be coming on. We're going to have some liquidation because, like I told you before, a lot of houses really like the euro. And I think Morgan Stanley had a picture, an 8x5 on their desk of the euro with a lot of hearts around it. So I think they got the hell out of Dodge. Definitely got the hell out of Dodge yesterday. Not late Asian yesterday, but yeah, I think that this is probably where it's going to, you'll probably find some support here at this 1156-ish area. I think right before that, right here, but 1152 is 78%, but anywhere in here. Although we still have the dollar Swiss pushing higher, but I told you before, based on where the dollar Swiss did push, we probably should have already been lower in the euro. Hey, Blake.
That's all SMB action right there.
Yeah, I told the guys.
Yeah.
I actually posted the chart. I said, "Hey, look, if we can get a 2 hour close above 96.86, I go. It's going to open the flows, and we got to close at 96.87, and then they ripped them. They ripped them. We started edging up a little bit higher. Although, really, when you look at it where the Swissy is, I think the euro ought to be a whole lot lower. But we're coming into some support here. I had this head and shoulders extension that I was looking at from the Asian session, and I was looking to go on and exit out on the move down here in this zone here. I've actually already gotten out of my short, which probably may not be smart, but I'm going to put it back on. But this is as far as I think it can go. It can go further, but I'm going to see if they can jump them up back here. Although I really wish they would have come back up to 1193, but overall we'll probably still work lower. I'd said that I thought that we'd eventually. A break here would send us to, I told you before, it would send us to probably 1140, and then we'll see a bounce, a little minor bounce, but I think ultimately it takes us down to 1115. This is where you want to cover them and then get overall on a shorter term basis. Me, I'm looking from a scalp basis because I held that dog for so freaking long. But I think that if we get down here to this area right here, 1115, you'll see a bounce, and then you reshort it into the 60 zone here, right here, and that bounce will then take us to 1088. But that's all on the 2-hour chart. I'm just over here looking on the 2-hour chart. But yeah, I've stayed short the euro the whole time with a very
Me
small
too.
position.
I'm short from yesterday.
Oh yeah, that's great. That's great.
Yeah,
Frickin'
from
dog.
112.35. Yeah.
Bunch of crap. You got a good price, and yeah, I was in that sorry ass dog for. Twice I missed it. One of them I thought I was out. I told you about the dome. I'm like, I'm out. I got out in Europe. When I woke up, I was already out, and then I'm looking at the wrong dome, and then I'm still short, and then I give up all the profits and turn around and go negative. Holy smokes! And then what was it yesterday? We fall all the way down, and then it doesn't take me out. I mean, I missed it. So I was like, pissed as piss could be. But here was my take. Here's my 1141. I think we can make it down here based on this move. I think we'll get it. I think we've got some support in here. 1141. And then I think if you come down to 1115, what I'm talking about, you see you take out this where, and this is where if I was you on a short-term basis, I'd be looking to cover. You see here, you see this low here, and these are actually 1123, and it's double lows. And let's see, okay, here. Here. These are double lows, double bottom at 1123. So what you do is my take is, I think that we are going to, I think initially we're going to go here, and then we'll pop back up a little bit, although I've already gotten out. I'll see if I can jump back in a little while. But I think that ultimately we'll take out the double lows here, and that'll probably take us down between 1115, which is here, to 1105, somewhere here. Then we rally back up, and you get short on the move right there where they're at, which we saw in the 15-minute chart. And then I think that opens a door for us then to go to 1088. Although the bias pivot has been 1043. 1043 has been the bias, actually it's 1048, but 1043-ish right there is the FOMC breakout. That's when, I was shortening like crazy and doing really well. And then here comes FOMC day, and I'm like, if they get above 1048, it's going to be bullish. Hey, loser, then why are you trying to short it? Oh, I don't know. I think they're going to come back. And they never came back. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I think they'll ultimately go to, is that eventually, but I'm not worried about them getting there at that point. My thinking is that this is how it will, see, there's 1043, there's the bias pivot. And I remember telling people that I was doing pretty good on FOMC day. I've been shorting the thing all week long, was even scalping it, jumping in and out for 12 pips. And it was a quiet day. And I'm dancing in and out, and I'm like, okay, so I'm waiting for the rally to short it, and the rally came up short. So the rally comes back up, and I'm like, if it closes above 1048, it's actually a buy. Well then, idiot, why the hell are you shorting it, loser? But anyway, enough of that song and dance. But this is how I see it coming out, is that I think we make this move to 1141, jump back up a little bit, then we ultimately come down here, we take out the double lows at 1125, which is actually 23. and we come down here to between 15 and 05. They rally back up to about 65-ish, and then you take them short for the move to 1088. Then we'll see what the hell happens after that. I don't know what's going to happen. But I told people, here's my take. I posted a thing this morning. I said, hey, look, we get a 2-hour close above 96.86. There's my level. I go 2-hour close. I'll open the flows up, and we got the close above that by 1 pip. Okay? And when we got the close, that opened the door, and we started inching higher, and then they just ripped them pretty hardcore. So, yeah, so that's about it. But I'm glad to hear about your euro. You've traded that thing better than my sorry, you know what. But at least I got paid on that sorry dog. But it just upsetting to twice be in the money and twice not only lose your gains, but to go in the red. And the thing is, if I had done it right, then I'd been adding shorts, but because I was wrong for so long, I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to be adding on. Even when they rallied up there, I go, why? You're wrong. So if they add, all you're adding on to more is a loser. You see what I'm saying? So normally I would have been taking that trade. Look at that. This shows you how pitiful that was. But I'm like, I'm not going to do it because it's like I'm adding on to a loser. But it's not because it was a loser. It's a loser because it's my own freaking fault. But look at this. I mean, this was gravy.